In this video, you'll learn how to start saving money, invest in the easiest way, and become rich. For what reason are such countless Americans scared of figuring out how to put away and set aside their cash? The truth of the matter is that it's basic. Everything comes from having an arrangement that permits you to do as meager as could really be expected. That implies seeing how MasterCards and retirement finances work, robotizing your cash, and zeroing in on patient and shrewd speculations. I will teach you to be rich does what it says it will. Through a practical portrayal of the nuts and bolts of contributing, it reveals the venture tips that everyone should have been educated in school. In these chapters, you'll learn step-by-step instructions to burn through 20% of your pay without harming your investment funds, what matters in 401 and Roth IRA retirement reserves, instructions to set up all hands venture and reserve funds framework. Don't blame others for your financial problems. Blame yourself. You've probably felt guilty about not saving money at some point. Or you may believe it's too late to begin. Defy those thoughts. It's past time to quit making excuses. The first thing you should know is that you should not be distracted by media information. There is a lot of financial information available, and it can be overwhelming. Furthermore, much of this information is dull and unhelpful, such as you should cut back on those lats, which ignores the realities of a young adult's life. With regard to speculation counsel, youngsters have the motivation to blame the media and blame other people who might have shown them better. However, the most ideal route for somebody to change their reserve funds results is by assuming liability for his decisions. Common excuses, such as our education system not teaching money management, are completely false. Many colleges offer finance classes, but students do not attend them. The dread of losing cash is another well-known reason for not doing anything with it. However, it's really desirable to lose cash when you're young in light of the fact that you don't have that much to lose. At that point, when you have all the more later, you'll better see how to keep it. Remember, cash is additionally depleted from your record when you leave it to deteriorate in banks. One more reason isn't having the option to stand to set $100 aside a month. Truly, the sum isn't so significant. Indeed, even $1 saved every day accumulates over the long run. We as a whole recall the monetary emergency in 2008 when numerous stupidly pulled out their cash from the market. A great deal of these individuals had no broadened portfolio and purchased high and sold low. A serious mix-up. It was not difficult to blame the public authority and banks. Yet most hadn't got a solitary individual accounting book to teach themselves. We need to assume liability for our issues and begin settling them. Since you know this, how would you get rich? Utilize your credit cards smartly. Seeing how to bridle the influence of visas will be your initial move towards setting aside cash and getting rich. Our most huge buys are regularly made on layaway, and individuals with great credit can set aside a ton of cash. Credit comes as advances, home loans, and MasterCards, and it empowers you to purchase enormous buys when you don't have the cash for them right away. Remember the focal parts of credit. A credit report, which records your credit action and gives potential moneylenders data identified with this, and a FICO rating, a number somewhere in the range of 300 and 850 that indicates your credit danger to banks. In the event that your financial assessment is acceptable, you'll be appealing to banks, which implies they can allow you better credit loan fees. What's shockingly better about this is that a decent FICO assessment can save you countless dollars in revenue. For instance, in 2009, the yearly rate in the USA indicated that with a decent FICO assessment on a $200,000 contract for more than 30 years, you'd pay $359,867 including revenue. A terrible FICO rating would land you with $430,427 to pay. That is $70,000 extra. Credit cards are the most common form of credit. Here are a few helpful hints for successful credit management. Kill your obligation. Decrease spending and pay it off. Prompt obligation installments represent 35% of your FICO rating. So masterminding program charge card installments will guarantee you never go past an installment. Then it merits reaching your MasterCard organization and mentioning they defer your yearly expenses and administration charges, and decrease your yearly rate. Shockingly, many are happy to do so. Make sure to search out the best advantages you can from MasterCard organizations. The Creator's Visa attendant even assisted him with getting passes to the La Philharmonic when there was obviously zero remaining. Pick the best bank and the financial balances with the most raised income. Zero charges and high financing costs are unthinkable. Correct. As a matter of fact, no, online banks regularly give the well-being rates. Their overhead expenses are negligible, and they don't need to burn through cash on branches or advertising. Thus, their client care is better and they can deal with lower net revenues than customary banks. They likewise offer loan fees 6 to multiple times higher than an ordinary bank. Suppose you set aside $25,000. This would give you $750 in 1 year at a 3% loan cost at an online bank. Difference this with a standard bank at a pace of 0.5% and you would get a small $125. Presently envision you saved $50,000. You'd get $1,500 at an online bank and an irrelevant $150 at a customary bank. Then get the best financial balances. The base ought to be one financial record and one bank account. You need financial records for continuous withdrawals and investment accounts for objectives like getaways or uncommon occasions. You have a couple of decisions here. Have your checking and bank account at a similar bank, have your financial records at a neighborhood bank and a bank account at an online bank, or various checking and investment accounts, the most ideal decision for the individuals who aren't terrified of exertion and need to advance their records for various objectives. Or then again you can keep one and a large portion of long stretches of everyday costs in your financial records and put all the other things into your investment account. In the event that having various records seems excessive, at that point basically pick a no-expense financial record at a neighborhood bank and high loan cost investment account at an online bank. Open investment accounts regardless of whether you just have $50 to begin. Watching your pennies and putting some money aside in a savings account is a good start. But it will only get you so far. You should invest if you want to make your money work for you. Opening a 401 retirement reserve, which numerous organizations in the USA offer to workers, is a decent spot to begin. To set this up, you just need to approve a part of your check to be naturally sent from your boss to your 401. At that point, you can pause for a moment and let your cash develop. There are some incredible advantages to having a 400 ONIC. For example, charge focal points since you're consenting to put away long-haul cash from your bosses in the event that they consent to coordinate your 401 commitment and that it's a venture requiring little exertion. After your 401, you should open a Roth IRA, which is another sort of retirement account, though a 401 is supported by your manager. A Roth IRA is fabricated utilizing your own cash. It's firmly exhorted that everybody ought to have both a 401 and a Roth IRA in light of the fact that a Roth IRA, rather than a 401, permits you to put resources into anything you desire, for example, singular stocks and record reserves. Likewise, while a 401 utilizes pre-charge dollars and you get burdened when you pull out cash during your retirement, a Roth IRA utilizes after-charge dollars, so you don't get burdened on your premium procured and when you pull out assets at retirement. All in all, how could you start your IRA? One understudy experienced issues saving $1,000 to open a Roth IRA account, so she decided on an administration firm T. Rowe Price, which offered a record with no base beginning sum and decided to consequently contribute $50 every month. $50 for each month was simpler for her to focus on. And even that sum isn't great beginning. Figure out the amount you're spending. At that point, direct cash where you need it to go. Recall the last time you felt regretful about purchasing something, however. Got it at any rate. In the future, you'll realize better after you figure out how to spend deliberately. Cognizant spending is tied in with lessening the measure of cash you spend on things that aren't so essential to you and spending more on things that you truly care about. You should simply embrace a conscious spending plan. Consequently, save and contribute a given sum for every month and spend the lay on anything you desire. Faultless. The rate you spend on various things can be separated into 60% on fixed expenses, 10% on speculations, 10% on investment funds, 20% on spending. Cognizant spending implies pondering what's essential to you. For instance, the Creator's companion Jim moved to a more modest condo after he got a raise. Why? His living space didn't make a difference to him, however. He adored going outdoors, so he put his cash towards that. Then figure out how to change your spending. You can attempt the envelope framework, wherein you choose the amount you wish to spend on the 4 territories above and put that cash in envelopes, so when they're vacant, there's no additional going through for that month. Envelopes may likewise be figurative. The Creator's companion opened a financial balance with a check card that went about as an envelope. Every month she stacks cash onto the card for mingling, and when the cash is gone, she doesn't go out. Changing from one extraordinary conduct takes some time. So change your spending instead of, for instance, saving for $195 every week in the event that you were formerly going through $500 per week. Pick a couple of serious trouble spots and work on those, as opposed to attempting to cut out 5% from various territories. Overdraft charges, for example, can amount to more than $1,000 each year. Eradicating that by itself will have a huge effect. Automate your bill installments so you don't need to consider them. Covering bills is badly designed and irritating. In case you're not obsessed with overseeing cash, make a robotized framework to do it for you. Take the conscious spending plan from the last chapter and computerize it utilizing your bank and your own instruments for following your spending. To start with, contact your bank to set up programmed moves and installments. For instance, set up programmed installments for fixed expenses and robotize withdrawals from your financial records to your Roth IRA. Whenever this is done, utilize the excess cash for spending and set mid-month schedule suggestions to educate you in case you're surpassing your spending objectives. A smart thought is to likewise have $1,000 in your financial records as a hold, on the off chance that your spending is working out as expected. At that point, great. If not, utilize the following 15 days to refocus. Another astounding thought is to execute an automatic money flow by associating every one of your records and making programmed moves. The exchanges can be coordinated in an accompanying manner. Your check should finance your 401 in financial records, and your financial records should finance your Roth IRA, investment account, Visa. Fixed costs where you can't utilize a charge card, and the odd measure of going through cash. Your MasterCard should fund other fixed expenses and spending. In any case, how precisely would you be able to connect every one of your records? Basically, mechanize all exchanges and installments. Let's assume you get paid on the 1st of the month. On the 2nd, consequently send a part of your check to your 401 and all that is left over into your financial records. On the 5th, naturally move cash to your investment account in your Roth IRA from your financial records. On the 7th, consequently cover off your bills in your Visa. Ignore experts and contribute the straightforward way. Specialists are continually going on about picking stocks, yet there's a lot less complex approach to contribute. Try not to accept the specialists. Not one of them can reliably anticipate how assets or stocks will act in the market over the long haul. Similar to Frederick Brochett's 2001 investigation, which found that wine specialists couldn't recognize wines, monetary specialists can't generally be trusted. This is on the grounds that they can't see what's to come. Actually, regardless of what they say, specialists are as often as possible wrong. Daniel Solon, writer of the smartest investment book you'll ever read, portrayed some exploration that uncovered that 47 of 50 warning firms perseveringly exhorted speculators on offers in organizations until the date they sought financial protection. In this manner, sidestep mastery and pick the easiest way to contribute. Picture a venture pyramid in which every classification has a resource class. That is, stocks, securities, and money are at the base, file and common assets are in the center, and life cycle reserves are at the top. These ventures become more confounded as you drop down the pyramid. So the least difficult methodology is through programmed life cycle reserves, otherwise called age-based assets. Which parts of the pyramid you put resources into shifts relying upon your age. For example, on the off chance that you are a 25-year-old, Vanguard Target Retirement 2050 offers 90% stocks and 10% bonds, yet on the off chance that you are 55, it offers just 63% stocks and 37% bonds. That should be obvious. In your 20s, a greater amount of your resources are in stocks. This is on the grounds that you can bear to face the challenge at this age. As you get more established, the equilibrium moves likewise and life cycle reserves make things simpler via naturally adapting to you. The extraordinary thing about way of life reserves is that you just have to claim one asset. At that point, you essentially need to choose where to apply the asset speculation, for instance to a 401 or a Roth IRA. Final summary. The main message in this book: setting aside and putting away cash admirably needn't be bound to the specialist. Nor should it be a migraine. Improve your individual budget by setting up no-charge accounts, mechanizing reserve funds and bill installments, and contributing a bit. This will permit you to quit worrying over cash and pause for a minute or two and let your assets develop. Here is what you can implement starting today. Be smart with startling blessings. The following time you get a sudden money-related blessing or reward, for example, a compensation rise, save 50% and spend the rest however you need. Thus, you will not become accustomed to spending beyond what you can manage. Try not to allow individuals to disclose to you how to set aside and go through your cash. You don't have to get by on a very tight budget on all the right or adequate things. All things considered, pick what's truly significant for you to go overboard or save money on. For example, if possessing an assortment of restricted release tennis shoes is more essential to you than feasting out each week, ration the eating and spend on the shoes. You like what you hear? Check out other personal development or business books. This video was made possible by your support. It takes a very long time to make one of our videos, so thanks to your contributions to Patreon and watching our videos, we are slowly able to do more and more of them. If you want to help us out, check out the Patreon page. If you like the contents of this video, check out other books in the description and suggest what book we should cover next.